Okay, so now we're going to continue with shoulder stretches. Okay, so now we're going to stretch the shoulder flexors. So we're going to stretch biceps, pec major, anterior deltoid, coracobrachialis. So there's a few you can do. Again, there's probably many more out there, but these are the ones I'm going to show you for now for lab purpose. So let's go with pec major right now. So pec major, you can use the doorway stretch, and I will tell you the difference between major and minor because those also are on your OP 100%. I've already seen them. They're already written. So your pec major, you want to have the 90-degree with your arm. I don't want, the issue people run into is they end up telling their client to push into the pole or the post, but then we're kind of activating pec major and we don't want to activate it, we're trying to stretch it. So what you want them to do is put their arm on the doorway or the post or pole, and you're just going to have them lean forward rather than push their arm into it. I'm just leaning forward in a way and I'm feeling that nice pull in the shoulder capsule. Okay, so the bent arm stretch 90 degrees is pec major. If you got pec minor stretch, you're going to straighten your arm up above. Same thing, you're not pushing into the pole, you're just having them lean. They can lean away to get a greater stretch, okay? And you'll feel a nice pull along that angle. So pec major is here, pec minor is up here. Okay, we will stretch biceps when we get to the elbow. I have separate stretches for that. Okay, when we get to the extensors, so let's go to lats and teres major right now. Okay, so there are a host of stretches for that as well. So there's one if I want to stretch this side. This is where you can use your pole or post if you have it. You're going to kind of make a C, okay, and I'm just leaning over, okay, and I'm stretching all this side of my lats. So that is one. Depending how flexible they are, they could also intertwine their hands up top. Okay, so now I'm reaching and leaning over and my shoulders are going back a little bit. Okay, so they'll feel that pull here. Another one is if they have a bench or even their bed or a table, okay, they can be here on their knees or standing, okay, so you can do it standing as well. So they're going to lean forward. Okay, so because it does extension, now I'm going into flexion to stretch lats this way in teres major. I'm going to kneel because my box is a little bit too low. Okay, so I'm going to drop my head and just lean, and you'll feel a nice pull there. If you wanted to do one side over the other, you could just reach over to the opposite side and feel that pull there. Okay, if that's not enough for them, they can go into this one where they put their elbows on here and then they reach down. That will also pull your lats, okay? So there's a few you can do there. There are many more, but those are ones we'll use for OP purpose and in our class, okay? Then we get to posterior deltoid. So the easiest, best stretch for it, for mid and post delt, is you're going to bring your shoulder across. The problem with this one is people don't really focus on their technique too much, so they don't really feel the stretch. So you need to make sure that their shoulder is kind of packed down and back before they start this, and then bring it over. So if I round my shoulder forward, I can get much further, but it's not really stretching in the way I need it to. I need them to tuck their shoulder back and down and then bring it across, and it doesn't go as far, but it's definitely way more effective. When they're doing this, you don't want them holding their wrist, and you don't want them pushing on their elbow. So they kind of want to be somewhere in the middle of their forearm. So they're backing down, they're holding it across, and they're going to hold a stretch for 30 seconds in the OP, 1 to 2 minutes in the real world. Okay, so that's for your deltoid, specifically mid and post. Okay, and it's actually a really good stretch if you can get it on your own. To stretch on your own as an RMT, it's a good one to stretch because we do use shoulders a lot. The other one you could do is if they have somewhere to kneel down on the ground, is they're here, they could just tuck their arm underneath. Okay, opposite side and drop. I don't know if you can see it in my hair, but then you can drop down this way and pull it this way. So it just depends how deep they need the stretch and how flexible they are. You could maybe progress with them and provide alternatives. Okay, you could also do the one where they're holding on to something. Okay, so you're going to tuck that shoulder back and down, and now I'm gonna pull away and create that stretch along here. Okay. Then we have your external rotators. So let's go infraspinatus, teres minor, okay? So if they are external rotators, we need to internally rotate to stretch them. Okay, so there's a couple different ways. So if they do this, I need to internally rotate my hand. For some people, this is enough stretch. It just depends how tight and what the injury is. I usually give them some sort of guide or something to try and touch. So if we're in external rotation, I'm going to get them to internally rotate and bring their hand to the small of their back, okay? If they need a further stretch, they can bring their arm out more. However, I don't want them to start rounding their shoulders this way when they're standing. If they need more of a stretch, what they can do is put both hands behind. They can lean forward and let their arms, elbows bend down, okay? If, again, that's not enough, you can have them seated to do this one. So they can bring their arm down, and then they could always apply some overpressure with their other hand if they're gonna do it one side at a time. So again, it just depends how tight it is, okay? And if they're feeling the stretch or not. If they're with someone, it can be assisted, but these are supposed to be self-stretches, okay? Then we have supraspinatus. Okay, supraspinatus, abductor. So if it does abduction, we need to adduct the arm. So this is where you can, so if we're out here, I'm going to bring my arm behind. I'm going to grab my forearm and pull it across, okay? And I'm going to stretch the front where it attaches. If they cannot reach their arm behind their back, which many people can't, you can give them a towel, or if they have a TheraBand, okay, they're going to hold on and they're going to pull it this way. Okay, and that's, you can increase the stretch that way. There's some that like to do this stretch for supraspinatus. It's not as effective. It needs to go behind to fully get the front of the shoulder and fully feel that pull there. Okay, that's that one. I'm just thinking what else you need to do. Subscapularis, so your internal rotator. So now subscap, if it does this, we need to do this to stretch it. Some people really just need to do this, kind of make that W, okay, and they will feel it in here, okay. You could also have it here just for some support, wall or a post, okay, and you can just swing that elbow underneath and you'll feel it pull, okay. So I'm not pushing into the pull, I'm just using it for some sort of support, and I'm gonna tuck my elbow under and I'll feel that stretch there, okay. If you had, I don't have one here, but if you had some sort of pole or a broom, you could hold on to that behind your head and get them to hold it back this way, okay? That would also work. I just don't have that here right now, but maybe in the lab we will. I think that's it for stretches, for the testable stretches that I'm going to test you on. So we have the lats, we have posterior deltoid, we have infraspinatus and teres minor. They're the same stretch. They do the same range of external rotation, so you'll do the same stretch to stretch them. We have pec major and pec minor, so please note the difference in change of where the elbow and the shoulder are. Subscapularis, teres major goes with the lats, so that's one kind of same stretch. You don't need to worry about two separate stretches for that. And biceps will hit when we get to the elbow, and I'll do it with the other muscles that cross the elbow as well. And